All right, if you are thinking about making a move to Temecula, California, watch this video to make sure you know what neighborhoods you want to move to, what part of town is best for you, and where you don't want to live. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I'm a realtor and team leader here in the Temecula Murrieta area with the Short Real Estate team. And again, wanted to create another video for you guys and talk to you a little bit more about the city of Temecula. So like we mentioned, if you are thinking about making a move here, I think this is going to give you a really good in-depth look about the area, talk a little bit more about the city, what areas you really want to target if you're moving here, where you want to live, where you're not going to want to live, and really where may be the best fit for you. So first, if you're liking the channel and you're liking the videos, please go ahead and hit like. Please go ahead and hit subscribe. It helps me, it helps the channel. Obviously, I'm trying to grow it. It helps me in my business. And if you are looking to move to the area, I would love for you to reach out to me. You can call, text, email. Definitely love to chat with you and see if there's anything that we can do, to myself or my team can do to help you out. So again, thank you for checking out the video. So today we're going to talk about the city of Temecula. So if you are making a move here, I think it's going to give you some really good information. So first, a little bit about me. So I have lived here in the Temecula Murrieta Valley for over 20 years. So I think I can be a really good source of information, give you some really good perspective. I think it's a great area. It's where I'm planning to raise my kids. I have two young kids. They're 4 and 6 years old. We plan to live here for foreseeable future, right? At least through their school years, and hopefully the rest of my life will live here in the valley. I think it's a really good place to live. I think the location is awesome, being in Southern California. It's relatively affordable, and it's got a great school district. So those are the big things that people target, especially the school district. If you have young kids, I mean, to live here in this price point, it's really you can't beat it. If you're going to live in a similar price point in some of these other counties and San Diego, Orange County, LA, I mean, you're going to be in not a great school district. It's really apples and oranges. So most of the schools here are going to be rated in the 8, 9, or 10 stars, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, or 8 out of 10. So that's such a huge advantage when you're looking at different cities. If you have kids, you're really going to want to target that. And also, it's just such a safe area. So Temecula and Murrieta both, they're both been one of the top 20 safest cities for like the last decade. There's a big military presence. There's a big police force presence, and a lot of first responders here in the area. So I think those are such big pluses and such big reasons why people want to move here. And of course, at the same time, although there are a lot of positives, I mean, the area's not going to be perfect. So I really wanted to talk to you a little bit about, some of the negatives, or what could be a negative for certain people, about maybe why you would not want to live here, or why you wouldn't want to live in certain parts of town. So I think the first thing I want to talk about is just living out in the wine country area. So if you are not looking for like rural property and a large lot on large acreage, 1 to 4 to 5 to 10 acres, and want to take care of that much land, that much property, you're really going to want to stay away from the wine country area, and you're going to want to stay away from the Duluth area. So, because here's the reason I bring it up, and here's what happens. So Temecula has really grown as a tourist attraction. So a lot of people come into town for bridal showers. They come into town for different events, to different wine tasting. They stay at one of the Airbnbs, and they come into town for the weekend. And that's really what draws them here, is all the events that you can do out in wine country, right? The challenge is, and so when they come here, they want to. That's a big thing that they want. They want to be in the wine country and live that type of life. However, what a lot of people don't realize, if they're coming from a city or a suburb, if you're going to go live in the wine country area, one of right next to the wineries, a mile down the street from the wineries, those are big properties. Those are not tract homes. Those are custom built, 1 to 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 acres. And that means you're going to have to take care of 10 acres. You're going to have to maintain 10 acres. You're going to have there's just some real challenges and some real realities of life when you have a big property like that. So that's a big thing that I wanted to mention. We have a lot of people that hey, I want to live in wine country, and that would be something to really make sure you have the right mindset. You're going to be the right type of person that wants to maintain that much land. Also, if you're going to live in a big property like that, a lot of people don't realize you're going to be on a septic system. A lot of people are totally opposed to a septic system. I personally, I don't think they're bad. I think there's a lot of pluses to having a septic, and there's really not a ton of maintenance, but just the word, it just makes people uneasy a lot of times if they're not actually familiar. And so that kind of ties back to the same thing. Hey, make sure if you're going to buy a big property like that, make sure you know what you're getting into, what it means to live on septic, what it means to not have natural gas and live either all electric or on propane, and to take care of that much land. All right, and so another con is, especially this is most common when people are moving from out of the area. So which most people, when they're contacting me, when you're watching some of these YouTube videos and you're checking out the area, it's mostly people that aren't super familiar. They don't live here in Southern California now. So you're just kind of looking at a map and trying to get a really good understanding for the area. But people don't realize we are in Southern California. There's a good amount of traffic, and if you're living on one side of town compared to the other, your commute time or your total driving time can be greatly increased. So the big thing that I wanted to mention is, if you are going to move to Temecula and you are commuting north, so if you're going to commute north to go to Orange County, if you're going to commute north to go to really Riverside, City of Riverside area, or if you're going to commute north and go to anywhere in LA County, you really are going to want to avoid living in South Temecula. So if you're going to commute one day a week, probably not a big deal. But if you're going to go 5 days a week and make that commute, South Temecula, it's probably the most desirable part of town. It's the most southern part of Temecula. It's the highest price point, and they do have the most highly rated school. But if you are commuting north, that's really going to increase your commute quite a bit. It's probably a 20 to 30 minute difference in a rush hour commute from living in South Temecula to the north part of Temecula. So that's a huge difference. And if you're already going to have maybe a 45-50 minute commute, to add on another 20-30 minutes just for one side of the town to the other, that's a big difference. So that's something I talked with a lot of clients about. And if you're not from the area, you don't have that perspective, that's a big difference. So if you're commuting north, you're probably going to want to avoid South Temecula. And then the third thing that I wanted to point out, and things that you may want to avoid, and areas you may want to avoid when you're moving here to Temecula, is if you are tight on your budget. Say if you went out, you did the right thing, you went out, you talked to your lender, you got pre-approved, and the lender says, hey, awesome, you're pre-approved for a $600,000 home. Awesome. That's going to give you this certain payment, whatever it is, $3,000 per month. I have no idea. It depends how much you're putting down, right? But that's going to be your mortgage payment, and this is what you're approved for in $600,000. You're going to be super excited. You want to go out, take your pre-approval. You want to go try and find a house at $600,000 so you can go ahead and buy it, right? So the one thing I want to caution you on is, if you are at the top end of your price range, you're approved up to $600,000, and that's kind of the max you can qualify for, that's the max payment that you can qualify for, you need to be very picky on what neighborhoods you're actually going to look at. The reason is a lot of people don't realize is the property taxes can be vastly different from one neighborhood to another. So in this area, most areas don't have this, but in this area, different neighborhoods have different special assessments, basically different taxes. And because of that can really change your affordability. There's some neighborhoods where you can literally, there's parts of Temecula, you can stand on a street, one side of the street, they have low taxes, and maybe that'll be your $3,000 a month mortgage that you're approved for at $600,000. Awesome. That's gonna work perfect for you. That's gonna be a great fit. But on the other side of the street, they have higher taxes, and that payment may be $350, $400 a month higher between the taxes and the HOA. And when that happens, if you're at the top of your limit, what you can qualify for, you are not gonna be able to qualify for that more expensive house. You're going to have to put more money down or have some other sort of solution. So that's a big thing. If you're not from the area, you're not paying attention to these different things. And so if you are tight on your budget, you're looking at the top end of what you can actually qualify for, make sure you're paying attention to what those property taxes are, and make sure that actually will fit into your mortgage payment to make sure, one, you can qualify for it, and two, you can make that monthly payment every month. Okay, so hopefully that gives you guys a really good perspective on some of the cons to living in Temecula and some of the things that you're probably going to want to stay away from, depending on exactly your situation and what you're looking for, right? So those are three things that I want to make sure I point out to you and that you need to pay attention to. So now we'll go ahead and talk about some of the real pros and some of the best areas and things you should be looking for when you're buying a home. So if you, opposite of our first point about commuting, but if you are going to live here and if you are going to commute and you're going to commute to San Diego, the best place that you want to live in Temecula is going to be South Temecula. So South Temecula, if you look at it on a map, it's going to be anywhere from Temecula Parkway, that's a main road, that's a freeway off-ramp right off the 15 freeway, and anything south of that, it's going to be considered South Temecula. It's the most southern part of Temecula, right? And if you are commuting south, if you're going to San Diego, anywhere in San Diego County, it is such a huge advantage to live there in South Temecula because it's going to shorten your commute. It's going to shorten your commute probably 20 to 30 minutes. That's a huge difference, especially rush hour. You know, if you're coming up the 15, coming up the freeway at 3, 4, 5 o'clock, it's going to make such a big difference in quality of life. And I'm sure that commute's not going to get any shorter over the next 10 years. So there's still more people moving here. I'm sure there's just going to be more cars on the road. So if you're commuting south, you definitely want to target South Temecula. Also, that tends to be the most desirable part of town. That's where most people want to live. The reason being is you're close for the commute. Also, it has the best high school in the area. So it has the Great Oak High School. It's the most highly rated, and it's really the most desirable school in town. Also, you know, there's a lot of shopping off Temecula Parkway. There's just a lot of reasons that make it super desirable. And there's also a lot of the most highly desirable neighborhoods. Some of the top neighborhoods with the most amenities, the most bang for your buck as far as HOA. And so there's a lot of pluses there. So the second point, as far as the best areas for most people and really what you want to start looking for, is a home that has a low tax rate. So again, kind of the opposite of one of those first points we talked about, but especially if you are tight on your budget, if you are tight on that mortgage payment and you want to make sure you're going to live within your means and be able to qualify for the home and live comfortably, and you're worried about that payment getting too high for you, you want to make sure you're going to target homes with a low tax rate. So again, different houses, different neighborhoods are going to have different tax rate, and that's going to affect your mortgage payment drastically. So again, you can look at two homes side by side right across the street from each other. If they're on different neighborhoods, one may cost you an extra $300 to $400 a month between the HOA and the taxes. So there's really something you want to pay attention to. That's something that your agent and your realtor can help you target. Make sure you're paying attention to property taxes, and something to pay attention to. And then some of the top neighborhoods in town that have some of those low property taxes. Paseo del Sol has very low property taxes. Crown Hill has low property taxes. And there's also some other top rated neighborhoods that maybe the taxes are a little bit higher. So like Morgan Hill, Wolf Creek, the Red Hawk area also has low taxes. So there's a lot of there's a lot of different areas in town that are nice, very nice communities. I mean, most of the community is super nice. Most of Temecula is going to be super desirable, but especially if you're on that budget, you want to make sure you're paying attention and really focusing on the right places. Myself, my family, we just bought a home. We just bought a new home in Summers Bend. That's a super nice area. It's probably going to be the last new construction community, master plan community in the city of Temecula. So it's pretty easy. It's located off of Butterfield Stage. It's kind of on the border of wine country. It's not in wine country. It is more of a tract home type of setup, but they're going to have probably a couple thousand homes, I would imagine there. There's a big HOA and master plan community going in. And so this is now January 2022. They are actively building. There's 4 or 5 developments going in right now. They're getting ready to release 2 more. So that area is continuing to grow. Those have higher taxes though, so you got to make sure you're paying attention to that. So overall, I guess the big thing I just want to point out, hopefully I want to give you some pros and cons, something to weigh if you're moving here to the area, talk about things that are maybe make this area desirable, make certain part of the town less desirable, depending on who you are, and just give you hopefully a point of reference and something to really think about if you're moving to the area and deciding if you want to live here. So hopefully it's good information. If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and reach out to me. You're getting to see all my info, call, text, email, and please go ahead and hit like, please go ahead and hit subscribe, and hopefully talk to you guys soon. Thanks.